What's up, party people? It's your host, Sunny Ray. This is the Sunny Ray Show. Thanks to our sponsors, Raz Rocket, your fundraise on autopilot. Today, I'm joined by Maxim. Maxim is the founder of Future Ventures Corp. He's also the CEO of Venera. How are you doing today, Maxim?
I am doing fantastic. Super excited to be here, Sunny.
Yeah, where in the world are you checking in from?
I'm based out of Calgary, Alberta. Moved here almost 20 years to the date. At the end of February, it will be 20 years, and absolutely love the city.
Cool, cool. I was born and raised in your arch rival, Edmonton.
Edmonton, yeah. We won't
Yeah.
hold it against you.
What's that?
Actually, I said we won't hold it against you. I'm not a big hockey fan, so to me, the Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames doesn't really matter. For me, it's all Alberta.
My dad and brother are like diehard fans still. I grew up watching a lot of hockey, but I
Yep.
played a little bit as well. Definitely not my strong suit. So Maxim, tell me, I think I was reading about your background. It sounds like you came to Canada from Bulgaria on, borrowed money with just enough for, tuition. And so what was going through your mind when you made that leap? And actually, before we even go into your backstory, maybe give people like a one line on future ventures, right? We'll come back to that one, but I like to, just give a bit of a highlight so that people know where we're going to go eventually.
So Future Ventures really was born out of a need. I was working in consulting. I was looking at advisory. We were starting companies, starting to invest. And what we saw there is that there's really a gap in the scale up space. So there's a lot of resources kind of like in the startup space. And once companies hit that inflection point, once they hit that growth, the complexity increases. So we built the company around supporting essentially scale up founders, like $1+ million in revenue. They need to hire teams, they need to go fundraise, they need to drive growth. And so Future Ventures is strategy, capital, and growth advisory firm. And so we do some of the work via AI, but really the focus is on those three things. And the primary reason why companies come to us is they're looking for capital or they're looking for growth. And so that may turn into like we'll help build out the equity story, we'll help build out like the financial models, we may do other things, but those are the two reasons: growth and capital.
Interesting. So then I guess take us back, tell us a little bit about the origin story here, how you came from Bulgaria with a couple grand in your
Yeah.
pocket, and here you are now investing in companies. So I mean, that's quite a journey, but take us back to the beginning, maybe a little bit about where you were coming from.
So in 96, Bulgaria was going through a really turbulent economic time. We're really peaceful nation. Unlike our neighbors, we never go through kind of revolt or revolutions. But in 96, inflation was 1,100%. And so the International Monetary Fund had to step in. We pegged the Bulgarian left, which doesn't exist anymore as of January 1, to the Deutsche Mark. And so what was really apparent is that I had gone to some of the top schools in the countries, but I come from a really humble beginnings, like working class family. So if I was to trying to make a life out for myself, it meant living the country. And so when I started in Bulgaria, I went to an English school. This is communism. So 1989. And at that time, because the Communist Party was trying to control how many people spoke foreign languages, because if you speak foreign language, they can obviously ingest information from outside. There was very, very few people that were allowed to do this. I was one of the lucky ones. And so that gave me like, I spoke English, like I had English teachers, I had Bulgarian teachers. And so in 96, after completing my mandatory military degree, I decided it's like the only way that I would succeed is to leave the country. So made a decision in 97. Both my brother and I left. He's lived in Switzerland ever since, and I came to Canada to come to university. Really, what I wanted was that foreign education, and I never actually thought about Canada. But when I was in Bulgaria, by pure chance, I connected with a Canadian, and he's like, "Hey, would you translate for me for a week while we're on an expedition?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And so he's like, "Do you want to take your application to University of Nebraska?" I'm like, Absolutely. And so that's how I ended up coming to Canada to university. Didn't have money, like I had enough money to pay my tuition, and then $2,500 to live for a year. So it was like startup mode, like you're just living on ramen noodles and just grinding it out. But I mean, it's all in hindsight. It was absolutely worth it, but it's hard work.
Wow, what an origin story. So how do you go from that to, like, what's the next step? Like what do you did you get like a job at Blockbuster? And my three themes in the on this show are well, like the three tech themes are AI, robotics, and Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And Bitcoin, I'm a big fan of, mainly because of those types of stories that you hear, right? About whether it's people fleeing Venezuela 10 years ago, or Argentina because of this. You're seeing it all over the world. This inflation thing it's something else, and it's like,
Exactly.
what is it, like a frog boiling in water, right? You don't really think about it until it's almost too late. So, but just curious, any thoughts on like what your, I don't know, like belief level, trust level on the monetary system was leaving? Like, were you?
So, I mean, what I'm seeing right now in kind of the fintech space, because we see a ton of pitches a week and a month. The fintech system is completely being revolutionized, and so, like, I mean, in Europe, one of the most popular banks is Revolut, which is a digital bank. So in 2018, we went down the route of creating a essentially a digital currency for loyalty rewards. So we issued our utility token on the Stellar platform, and so I believe that we are going to go through a process of the role of central banks will continue to erode in terms of importance. Um, Bitcoin, digital gold, like asset-backed coins, will continue to rise in importance. We'll have to figure out exactly how the government will have to step in and regulate. But if you look at kind of like the role of AI, because a lot of our work is in AI, the best way that they can describe it is that everything is transitioning from macro to micro. So 20 years ago, it was all like the Swift banking system on the finance side, and it would take you 4 days to clear a wire, and you'll be paying fees on both ends. Now it's instantaneous, like if you're trying to send money across the world. And so you're seeing this in education, you're seeing this in movies, you're seeing this in software. I mean, look at what happened last week in the software market. 20% down because of the new features or new products that Claude released. So in one of the portfolio companies, we are building our own essentially ERP. And why we're doing this is because prior to AI, you kind of had to go and buy an existing software. And the existing software is done for the masses. Like, it's not one to one, it's done for one to many. And so you're getting all these features that you don't necessarily need, but they come as part of the product. And the things that you need, perhaps you don't have access to. And so now it's personalized medicine, it's personalized workflows, it's personalized products. Everything has gone from macro to micro. So in the fintech space, it would be the same. I mean, like the most beautiful thing about, like, not this, I mean, Bitcoin to me is just a product of cryptography, right? So the really neat thing about this is that what happens is that, like, when you record something on a ledge, it's kind of like an armored car. Like everybody, like this is what travels through, and it's like it's really protected through cryptography. Like, it's mathematics, right? Like, it's an algorithm, and so it provides you a lot more security. So I'm of the opinion that sooner or later we're going to get away with the passwords. Like, why would you need passwords? Like, we're starting work with a company here in Calgary that has a digital authentication device that uses biometrics and cryptography to log you in. Because why would I log in with my Facebook credentials, with my Google credentials? It's pretty dumb portal, right? Like, it uses some kind of information that's stored about you to authenticate you. But everything is going to move from like macro to micro. And
Yeah.
we're seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. So in 2015, in 2018, you left the corporate world and you founded Future Ventures. I love the name, by the way.
Yeah,
Was there a specific moment that made you say, I need to go build?
for sure. So if you kind of look at my background, everything has been in with a focus of build, build, build. Or build. Like I spent, I started my first company. Spent many years with consulting, working with Big Four. And what shifted me from consulting into industry is like I was designing a lot of solutions, but I never saw them being implemented. Right? Because it's kind of like it is if you're like window shopping, you as a consultant, you're always looking from the outside in. So I wanted to be on the other side. In 2018, what prompted me to go in and explore this or do something different is I wanted to be it's kind of like the moment in time now as well. It's like it's a moment in time that will never come back. Like the rise of AI, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. Go and build. And so 2018 was very similar. I wanted to be in a situation where I'm building companies or building solutions and making those a success. So that's what prompted me to leave. Now, my original idea was to go into venture capital. I quickly pivoted out of this. It's similar to the moment now. There's abundance of private equity firms, there's abundance of VC firms, and the differentiation is not there. So what we wanted to do is differentiate ourselves by focusing on helping companies with strategic advice, helping companies with money, helping companies with growth, helping provide them with like just the right expertise that they need when they need it. And so that's kind of like what pushed me over. The challenge I have, obviously, big industry pays really, really well and it's stable, but it's like a big ship. It's really hard for you to make um, to drive change in a big, big organization because you're just a small cog as part of an overall machine. And this is what prompted me to move in and start working with scale ups.
So you tried to start a wine importing business, right, as a student, and it didn't quite work out. But how did that early failure plant the seed for what eventually became Venera?
So the wine import business actually is quite successful.
Oh,
So the company name is Vino, and so we're one of the top 20 wine importers in Alberta.
oh,
Um,
wow.
so this continues to grow despite the challenges, right? Like the industry itself is in a structural decline. So we have the emergence of GLP-1 technologies, look with drugs like Ozempic that essentially is appetite suppressant, and so for us, the big difference that we're trying to do is like we're maniacally obsessed in driving value for our customers, our suppliers. So the portal that we're building in the moment is essentially this. Everything is completely integrated from government regulator to freight forwarders to suppliers to banks and just kind of flows automatically. And so our big differentiation there is like the time that we have as a team is focused on serving our customers and delighting them. And so the company that we had started that didn't succeed was Vinterra. And so Vinterra transitioned into Venera essentially. Or they were completely different companies, completely different ownership. That so as I look at why it didn't succeed, we had focused too much on building a product. And the product was amazing. The product worked, the product was amazing. We had not focused enough on customer discovery. We had not focused enough on growth. We had not focused on channel distribution. We had not focused a lot on velocity. So we had not focused on things that were really important. We had taken the approach to build the best mousetrap and people will come to it. And so it just didn't work. And so it's those lessons that kind of fueled me to say, hey, if I share this with the world, this is going to be really helpful. So I started publish content on futureventures.ca. And so a lot of people were like, well, why don't you put this behind a paywall? And we're like, no, we're building a community. We're launching Future Ventures Forum as a community. But a lot of the content, the advice is us learning from ourselves the hard ways and working with founders and say, this works, this doesn't work. So we've put it up. And so we're growing traffic, Sonny, I kid you not, at 40% a month. is what the web traffic is growing. So we're more popular than economic development agencies here in Alberta and accelerators and VC firms. And all we're trying to do is like, how do we disseminate this knowledge based on the work that we do with portfolio companies?
That's awesome. Hey, are you guys a deal partner at Bordy Ventures?
We are.
So
Well, yeah,
I saw that you guys focus on AI native companies.
yes.
So what does AI native really mean to you guys? Yeah, because it feels like everybody's building something in AI now.
Yeah, 100%. So the way that we look at the AI companies that we focus on are companies that have some kind of a competitive advantage. So, and what I mean by this is like there's a lot of AI companies or so-called AI companies that really um, an integration of existing workflows, or it's agentic workflows, or it's like mini app that's built on an existing foundational model. Like the companies that we're working with, they truly differentiated. Like we're working with a computer vision company that have built their own model. Yes, they're using existing model, but it's computer vision. And in this case, the focus is on in industrial settings. So how do we use computer vision to assess where a particular part or element of an industrial setting is likely to fail? Maybe it's through vibration monitoring, maybe it's like through corrosion detection, infrared, whatever it is. So we're using, so this is an example of a company that we're really excited. The other one that we're starting to work with is a company, Sunny, blockchain. So think of the company is kind of like writing the code that what goes on the ledger, but in the AI. So they're trying to move from probabilistic model to deterministic model. So whatever information gets generated from an LLM gets verified before it gets published into the open. So it provides this kind of like as the buffer between enterprise and information that goes out. So this is a company that we're working with that, from our perspective, the risk of failure is high because they're going against EY, they're going against Cloud, they're going against LangChain. But if they succeed, they're essentially kind of helping to build the operating system for AI that enterprises can use.
Maxim, you seem like you're. By the way, I love your enthusiasm and just your. It's very contagious. I was gonna say, are you tinkering with OpenClaw?
Oh my gosh. We're insane on Cloud Code, Cloud Cowork. It's just constantly running. Like, so the way that we're building is we have Cloud Code. Now, I don't know if you noticed last week they introduced the premium model where it gives you twice the speed for 6 times the price. We haven't done that because you have the Cloud, whatever the next version, the free version, the premium version, they have the 5x and the 20x. And so we are building the apps, essentially vibe coding, but using Cloud and Visual Studio. And so it's constantly a member of our team is like, okay, as we encounter a challenge, we go into Visual Studio using Cloud Code and just go like, do this, and constantly kind of augmenting what's being done. But absolutely, I mean, like Linus Torvald, the guy that wrote Linux as the operating system, was it 2 weeks ago? He came out and said that now AI is better coder than he is,
Yeah.
and it's just the reality. Like,
Have you heard of not Claude, but OpenClaw, like claws, lobster
Open Claw
claws?
for social media? Yeah.
Not for social media. It's like an open source software that sits on your computer, and anyways, there's like something called, I think, Maltbot or something like a Reddit for these
Yeah.
agents, but people are going crazy right now about this thing called OpenClaw, and you can plug Claude into it. You can plug ChatGPT and other LLMs, but it's more like I don't even know how to, like, it's like an organizing layer that sits on your computer, like on the Mac.
I saw it last week when it went bonkers.
Yeah.
It's your social media, integrates your WhatsApp, integrates your Slack
Yeah,
messages.
you can message to your computer. Anyway, so we bring up another one. But Maxim, tell people about Future Ventures, where they can learn more about you, and kind of double click on all these crazy ideas, these exciting ideas you're talking about.
The best way for people to learn more about Future Ventures is to go on our website, futureventures.ca. or reach out to me via LinkedIn. My information is very public. So if somebody wants to connect, we're happy to connect. What we've tried to start to do is we've started to publish case studies of the work that we're doing, particularly around AI, because some people have hard time imagining what's possible. And so what we're trying to do is kind of like, instead of people trying to come up with the cases of what's possible, we're trying to publish those and say, hey, I don't know, you're looking to automate your hiring process? Well, here's what we've done. You're looking to automate your RFP or quoting process? Here's what we've done. You're looking to build a mini ERP? Here's what we've done. So futureventures.ca is probably the best place to learn about the company and what we're doing. We try to publish regularly. On LinkedIn, we've just launched a Beehive newsletter called Growth Chronicles. People can subscribe to it. I publish a lot on my personal website, particularly for founders and leaders. So Future Ventures for me is focused on the companies, also the race car, and Maxim of my personal website is focused on the founders and leaders, so the race car driver. And so that's kind of how I differentiate between the two. I try to give as much guidance based on kind of like what we're seeing as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, great interview. I'm really excited about the stuff you're working on, Maxim. Just hang out maybe for 1 minute. I'll bring this live stream to an end. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time.